This is John Cantius Garand's M1 semi-automatic rifle. For basic operation and some history, see my earlier video, Basic Firearms Tutorial number 5. This video will demonstrate how to disassemble the M1 for cleaning and maintenance. First, as with any firearm, ensure all ammunition has been removed from the weapon. This video presumes you already know how to do this. My earlier video illustrates the process. Keeping the weapon pointed in a safe direction and fingers away from the trigger, ensure the bolt is closed, the internal hammer is cocked, and the manual safety is engaged. Grasp the rear of the trigger guard and pull it to the rear so it releases. Swing the trigger guard out and away from the rest of the weapon as far as it will go. The trigger group may now be removed. This will also release the action from the stock. Some actions will be tightly fitted to their stocks or may be specially bedded. Care must be taken when disassembling such rifles to avoid damage. This rifle is CMP's rack grade, returned from many years of hard service in the Greek army. Despite her appearance, she's shot below 2 minutes of angle on a couple occasions. With the action removed from the stock, lay the action down inverted. Firmly grasp the follower rod and pull it forward to release it from the pins on the follower arm. Some follower rods are knurled to improve handling, but this one is not. Be careful to maintain control, as the follower rod will be under pressure from the operating rod spring. The follower rod and operating rod spring may then be removed rearward. Remove the follower arm pin. This can be pushed out with a narrow tool or a bullet point if necessary. With the pin removed, the operating rod catch, follower arm, bullet guide, and follower may be removed. Move the operating rod rearward to the end of its track. Gently move it sideways through the takedown notch, which also releases the operating rod from the bolt. The operating rod may now be removed from the rear of the gas cylinder. Take care to not bind or force the operating rod. The bolt can then be removed through the ejection port. The issued takedown tool, which can be found at gun shows or ordered from the internet, can be used to remove the gas plug to ease cleaning of the gas cylinder. The gas cylinder should never be removed unless it needs to be repaired or replaced. Likewise, the forward handguard should be left in place unless it requires service. The forward handguard should be slightly loose, and you should avoid handling the weapon at this point. At matches, I have seen some rifles with the forward handguard clearly labeled "Do Not Touch." To reassemble, return the gas plug to the gas cylinder if it was removed. Ensure the locking ring is correctly aligned with the gas cylinder. Return the bolt to the receiver. Note how the tail of the firing pin passes through the notch. And the locking lug rides inside its track. Return the operating rod, starting with the gas cylinder. Again, be careful not to force or bind the operating rod. Note how the rod fits over the other locking lug. Move the operating rod and bolt forward. Insert the follower, bullet guide, follower arm, and operating rod catch. Note how the accelerator, the L-shaped piece within the operating rod catch, relates to the forward extension of the bullet guide. Return the follower arm pin to hold these pieces in place. I will now show this again with the bullet guide removed to help illustrate the position of the operating rod catch relative to the internal extension of the clip latch. This arm on the operating rod catch must go beneath, from the inverted perspective, this extension of the clip latch. Return the operating rod spring within the operating rod. While maintaining careful control, compress the spring to hook the follower rod onto its pins on the follower arm. Return the action to the stock. Return the trigger group to the action. Note the position of the two large pins near the hinge point of the trigger guard and how they are inserted relative to the receiver. Lock the trigger guard into position. While ensuring the weapon is empty of ammunition and keeping it pointed in a safe direction, perform a dry function test to ensure all parts have been correctly reassembled. This should conclude the basic disassembly and reassembly of the M1 Garand rifle. For detailed disassembly, instructions can be found, among other sources, in the Gun Digest Book of Firearms Assembly Disassembly Part 4 Centerfire Rifles. Exploded parts diagrams and user's manuals are available on many internet sites and can be found with a simple web search.